We were using an antiquated system before. Everything was paper. Manufacturing, having to give guys sheets of paper. Hey, this is what you make. Hey, guys, loading, this is what you load.
In Paradigm, we're able to track an order through every single step. We're able to see like when purchase orders are made, when the material has arrived, to when it's checked in, to when the bill gets entered, and when the bill gets paid and how it gets paid.
Paradigm for almost 3 years has been our motherboard, has been our guiding light, if you will. It will stay that way. We're not going to go backwards. We're not going to, whatever we do, it will be, the relationship will be ongoing.
If you don't mind, if each of you would just introduce yourself and tell me kind of what your title or your role is there at the company.
My name's David Taylor. I'm one of the managing partners at Iron Brothers, one of 2 owners. And my day-to-day task, I'm really over the office side of things. So sales, our engineering and drafting for our engineered buildings, and then most things in the office, if you will.
My name's Victoria Pedraza. I'm our office manager. I wear multiple hats here. I do our bookkeeping, a little bit of our marketing, just kind of helping the flow through the office. It's really about it.
Y'all are serving Texas or part of Texas. Tell me about what y'all do.
We're a manufacturer of metal building components and buildings. So we roll form panels, purlin, trim, eave struts, and we will ship those all over the United States. Not just in Texas. We've done jobs in Oregon and Wisconsin and Georgia and Florida and Missouri and all around. So we will ship our products everywhere.
Like, what's kind of your radius with panels, or is that just for the smaller components that you're shipping more widely?
Well, as long as the panels will fit on a truck, they're easy to ship.
Got it. Okay, so you'll deliver wherever, whenever, pretty much, huh?
Yes, sir.
Tell me a little bit about what your typical day looks like and kind of how you interact with the Paradigm software, how it affects your day-to-day role. I don't know. You want to go first, Victoria?
Before we start our day, we start with our lean meeting. We talk about things that go on or have gone on the previous day, such as any improvements that we have made, any mistakes that we have made. We discuss how we could fix those mistakes. I come into my office. We do our 3Sing. We sweep, sort, and standardize before we turn on any computers. Then I get in. I balance our bank with Paradigm. I'm able to enter bills. We're able to invoice orders that were picked up. Kind of just how do I word it?
So you're primarily on the bookkeeping end of things for the
Right,
most part. Is that okay?
right. We kind of just go through the motions of the day using Paragon.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we have a kind of a unique flow here where we have some walk-in traffic, and then we do a lot of stuff online or through. We have 4 inside salespeople, and we have 2 outside salespeople. So the outside sales folks are dealing with. We mainly typically deal with contractors 90% of the time, and so we have some traffic that comes in, and we deal with them on an inside sales level. They're placing orders, they're getting quotes, and then we use Paragon for most of that stuff, especially the order entry. And then it goes into manufacturing, and that's all through Paragon and the Paradigm system. And then loading is all through Paradigm, and the routing of the trucks is all through Paradigm. So everything ultimately ends up in the Paradigm system, regardless if it's the quoting aspect, the order entry aspect, and then manufacturing, loading, invoicing, POs, everything that can be done within that has to be done in our given day runs through the software.
Cool. How long has it been since you implemented Paradigm?
It was March the 1st of 22.
Cool. So tell me kind of about what's changed since you've implemented it how have your processes changed from what you were doing beforehand to what you're doing now?
I mean, it's streamlined everything. We were using an antiquated system before. Everything was paper, um, paper in the sense of manufacturing, having to give guys sheets of paper. Hey, this is what you make. Hey, guys, loading. This is what you load. So everything was very antiquated. It streamlined us pretty much from the word go. Um, we anticipated it would. It started out streamlining, and it's just slowly over the 2.5 years. It gets more and more streamlined on our end.
That's awesome. Did you want to add anything to that, Victoria?
I feel like it has made us more adaptive. We're not really doing things the old way anymore. Um, and with that, we're better able to serve our customers.
Mhm. That's awesome. What were you? This is and you kind of answered this already, but what would you say were the biggest challenges that the partnership with Paradigm has helped you all solve?
From my end, communication issues that we were having with our customers, it allowed us to be able to communicate better as for confirming orders, sending messages out that orders are ready. It's definitely fixed that for us. Um,
Well, inventory at the beginning, we're kind of spoiled now. It just all works, but trying to remember to go back to the old way compared to now. Uh, if you spend any time thinking about it, it's fairly overwhelming to process it. In that our inventory and the way we did inventory counts and how we kept up with inventory was so tedious, and it required a lot of personnel, a lot of time. It was just super inefficient. And so now the inventory and production side, it's bananas. So it's all it goes very smooth. Um, and ultimately, as a business, you want to serve your customers. So you can serve your customers better by meeting their needs quicker. And so the system allows that to happen specifically with communication. And now we have confirmations, and people can co-sign on things, or sign off on things without having to make an extra call or extra emails or extra this. And so it just makes it's just more efficient. I don't know a better word for that. The trucking, um as far as trick building, being able to categorize your loads in such a way that it's efficient for your loading, it's also efficient for the customers, that they can know well in advance when they're going to receive their stuff. um that's changed 100%. We utilize, we think, the high end parts of the system very well, and it's changed everything for us.
That's awesome. Are y'all using the contractor portal piece of it for folks to submit their own orders, or is that not something you've implemented yet?
Well, that's one of the questions here later we were going to answer, is that our next big technology push is going to be the e-commerce side of it. We know it's there, we know it's available. We just haven't jumped into it yet.
You touched on this a little bit, inventory management and the loading. Any other places where you've really seen it affect kind of the efficiency or minimizing waste, maximizing output?
in Paradigm, we're able to track an order through every single step, every process that goes through from manufacturing to even when we order out from our outside vendors. We're able to see like when purchase orders are made, when the material has arrived, um, to when it's checked in, to when the bill gets entered, and when the bill gets paid and how it gets paid. There's been like a huge improvement on our AR and AP side. We're easily able to look at invoices. It's very clear. We're even also able to um, give our customers a link to where Paradigm automatically auto fills it, and our customers are able to pay their invoices.
You feel like that's shortened the time window, like on the receivables, just making it that easy for customers to pay, or have you not noticed any effect there?
It's literally our motto. Like, we're finding easier ways for you to pay. Um, so we'll give them a link on that. When we send our statements out, we even include like a QR code that they can scan. Paradigm also helped us with that by adding QR codes to our invoices. So if we have a terms customer and maybe they're not paying now, they're paying later, all they got to do is just scan that QR code and boom, right there they can enter their payment.
Yeah, and on the AP side, a lot of places that we buy either cools from or some of the things that we use to make the material, we get early pay discounts. So I think this year we're in the by all this stuff happening so quickly and it's all attached together. You're not spending time going to ask 5 people, "Hey, did we really get this? Hey, did we receive this? Hey, has that customer taken that?" It's all 100% encapsulated in the system, and so, we have been able to utilize we this year, we're probably up to 40 or $50,000 in early paid discounts,
Wow.
and that comes I mean, that's just straight profit, and so, here at Iron Brothers, we share profit. We do a profit sharing. And so, by Victoria keeping up with this stuff and the system and the way it does, most people here don't even know it, but she's making them money. And on the texting ability and all these communication aspects are huge with today's society. And that we if I feel like we've gotten less email driven. We still use it on somewhat of a corporate level. And if I'm dealing with Paradigm or something, it's normal to send emails, but with customers, so many people are used to just receiving text now. So all this stuff has now been, at first it was emailable, pretty cool. Well, now it's emailable plus textable. If I didn't just make up a word, there's really no excuse now to not having the right information.
That's awesome. Are there ways that you feel like it's helped you adapt to some of the market demand or the production requirements, you know, be able to adapt to that more quickly?
It's just speed. We live in a microwave culture, and if you can go faster, you get more business. And so the I don't know what the right term is, but the time between quote to order entry to being able to be at a machine, if you've eliminated 100% of the human element, which we have, except for the order entry, obviously, all the bottlenecks between there and the machine are gone. And so, it's an instantaneous deal. So we have a deal we call super flashes, which we don't use. We try not to use all the time, but if a contractor gets to an end of a project and they need one piece of trim or two pieces of this, that for most manufacturers, it'll be a week. It'll be a week. That's been true my whole career. I've been doing this a long time. And now if they call us at right now, they will be able to pick it up. Well, it's Friday, but we have less than a 24-hour turnaround on these types of flash orders. And then truthfully, we can really make them in about 10 minutes.
Mhm. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
We give ourselves some leeway just because
Mhm.
of, volume at the end of the day, but um, that's not possible without a system that can support that vision.
That's amazing. So thinking back to when y'all made the switch to Paradigm, what kind of led you to that final decision? Did you have any
Or
cause for concern before choosing Paradigm? How'd you finally settle on them as the ERP provider for Iron Brothers?
the system we were using before is QuickBooks, which we're a small business. We have roughly 30 employees. But when you add the manufacturing side to a system like QuickBooks, that's just not what it's made for. So I was aware of another software where I came from. That's the only one I knew of that was geared towards our sort of business.
Mhm.
Specifically with having, it's kind of a hybrid. It's kind of a weird business in that you have people that come in, you have outside people, you have kind of a retail type flow, and then you have kind of a long lead time flow. And so I didn't know of another. I'm sure that maybe there was some cloud based system that was out there that we probably could have bought, and we would have spent $1 million trying to adapt it to meet our needs. We actually heard about Paragon from a vendor of ours who started using it after we did, but they knew about it before we did. And so they mentioned something to us at a meeting we were at. I was like, oh, I'll remember that. And I'll tell this story. If you want to keep it, keep it. If you don't, don't. When we left that meeting, it really wasn't that important of a meeting. But when we left, Eric and I, are the other owner of Iron Brothers, Eric, who's not in here with us, but I said, man, I got to remember the name of that software they talked about. And I'd have bet you everything I got, it was called Pentagon, not Paragon. And so I would come back. I came back to the office and I'm searching Pentagon software. And then the FBI showed up one day. No, I made that part up. But I couldn't remember the name. And we weren't ready right then to implement. We were just now getting our machines going and blah, blah, blah. So we needed to kind of keep it simple for a little bit.
Mhm.
And then in October of 21, we went to MetalCon in Tampa. And I had randomly, periodically searched for this Pentagon software.
Mhm.
And I never found a manufacturing ERP system.
Mhm.
And so me and one of the other guys, we turned a corner at MetalCon and there was this little flappy sign that said Paragon ERP or something, or computer solutions. I was like, that's it. We spoke with Derek for about a half hour. And we knew fairly quickly. Within a half hour, we were going to, we were at that point, we were at that moment. We needed, it was go time on a software. The other company, not just their price, but the experience I'd had before was, I was like, man, this just doesn't seems untenable. And
Mhm.
talking with Derek and the other gentleman that was there, his last name's Martin, but I forgot his first name.
Anthony, probably.
We felt like we were speaking with real people,
Mhm.
um, not some conglomerate, and that people we could pick up the phone. And we we didn't sign on that second, but we
Mhm.
signed on maybe a week later.
Mhm.
And then we kind of took our time with the. We'll get into the implementation, but
Mhm.
the next few months weren't really a Paragon issue. It was a Iron Brothers issue of wanting to be sure we had some stuff categorized right, that we kind of slimmed some of our inventory item code. So um, the decision was it was unanimous quickly. So we didn't really have any concerns about having Paragon as our life
Mhm.
operator, ERP system. But the question was kind of not, there wasn't really a concern with the partnership. It was a concern with the implementation
Mhm.
or kind of the go live part. That
Mhm.
that minute you flip your system over, they did a great job of the taking our data. So, probably in November, December of 21, they said, hey, send us all your stuff, customers, vendors, orders, item codes, all the things that make our products, which we
Mhm.
have multiple thousand item codes. Hey, send it all to us and we'll build the system. We're like, oh, groovy. And so as we got to the go live date, which is March 1st, I think it was a Tuesday, we were concerned about the data migration. We were concerned about the go live, what kind of landmines are we going to have to deal with? Are we going to know how to collect checks right and not show that somebody owes us money and we just saw them give us a check? Just kind of the onboarding and implementation of all that. And it was
Mhm.
almost seamless. We've heard horror stories about that. That first, I come from a horror story. It's been 14 or 15 years ago. We hit go live one day and every order we had put in the day before was gone.
Horrible.
Horrible. And so Eric and myself, he was there for that, where we used to work. He was there for that go live. And we were like, oh man, if this could be real bad. And
Mhm.
then it was pretty simple. So we were pretty, that those concerns got squawked pretty quickly.
Industry specific. That's the keyword, right?
Yes.
So speaking of that, which specific features in the ERP do you feel like are most beneficial for your team?
So I have a few favorites that I really love. One of those is the auto attach feature. So we like to keep our hard paperwork that we have with orders or purchase orders, purchase invoices. That way we can always go back instead of having to dig through files. And what it is you just scan, your paper, your shipper in your scanner, and it automatically attaches to a
Mm,
folder on your computer. Now, whatever you are in Paradigm, it will automatically attach for you. There's
mm,
no like file, open, drag over. It just does it. Once it attaches, it will move to it like a different folder, and it stays stored, but it keeps it real nice and clean. And that's been super beneficial, especially if someone's misplaced something. You just go to an order and you're like, "Oh, look, there it is. It's already scanned in," and you're able to print it. That's super helpful. One of the things, is the screw calculator. So Jaden actually helped me do this. I think, one time I was with a sales guy, and I was like, "How do you configure the screws for a metal building? Like, how many you need, what kind you need, what color?" And he gave me the formula to do it, and it was super
mm,
complicated. I'm like, "How long does it take you to figure out how many screws you need?" I was like, "No, there has to be a better way." And that's kind of when we started it was around the time we started implementing lean, um, being able to improve on things that we do here. And I got with Jaden and I'm like, "Hey, like this is what's going on. Like, how could we make this better?" And he was like, "Oh, there's a screw calculator." So pretty much you enter your panels how many panels you need, all the different colors, all the different lengths, and the system automatically tells you, okay, well, you're going to need this many in this color, this size. And I feel like it's been super helpful, especially um, if you're not too familiar with that formula that they have. But yeah, and then the FAQs.
mm.
I it is like my Bible. I hang tight to it. I keep it bookmarked anytime I need something. The answer is always there. When they wrote out the FAQs, they did a very good job. Anytime they update the system, there's always the FAQs on the new update.
The mobile app for the drivers is a big deal. Being able to take pictures, they stay in the system, they link to the order. We've
Mhm,
got to get a lot of job site photos, just to be sure there's not damages or shortages or things like that. The fulfillment side on the loading, that's that's just a game changer in every way you can think about. The order confirmation links, those are game changers. She talked about the screw calculator. A big one we've been using here recently, which has been there the whole time, we just haven't utilized it, is the tasks system.
mhm,
We've kind of recently made some changes here of how we're kind of we call it the customer experience. And now we have several people that may be involved on a specific job. That part's intentional. And we're trying to use each person's talents, whatever they're gifted towards, use those specifically throughout the job process instead of making some people a jack of all trades.
mhm,
So
mhm,
that sounds messy. Like, hey, you're going to have several people look into an order. Yes. We're going to have someone estimate it that may be a better estimator than somebody.
mhm,
Well, once it goes back to the initiator of the order, they now have a task. Hey, that's
mhm,
where you have a task. I need this back in 2 hours. Boom, it
mhm,
shows up on his computer. And then, okay, I have tasked you back. Hey, now you
mhm,
need to send it to the customer. And so I had one yesterday. This task is screaming at me. I was 16 minutes late on one of my tasks. And I finally,
mhm,
okay, I got it. I did the task and I was
mhm,
16 minutes late. It just keeps everything flowing and it doesn't allow you to have things fall through the gaps.
mhm.
If I could just like hit on that a little bit, but before like I would have tons of sticky notes all over my desk. I still have a lot of sticky notes, but I can send tasks to myself to remember
Mm-hmm.
to do this. Hey, like this order's direct shipping, like check the shipping on it. Remember to invoice it. There's so many moving parts here that sometimes things do slip. Um, and it's super easy to go into an order and to make yourself a task. And like David said, it just kind of screams at him, get this done.
That's awesome. Thinking, and this is probably a little bit hard to quantify, maybe, but just thinking in terms of costs. I mean, it's business, so obviously, bottom line is the number that we're looking at to measure whether something is a win or not. Any way that to quantify or put a guesstimate onto how Paradigm has helped you cut costs, or kind of your before and after cost situation. How is that those efficiency specifics that you've mentioned translated into bottom line uh, effects?
Cost is a big word, in that it could be overhead, it could be wasted time. These things that end up ultimately, it's hard to track them in a, hey, this costs $10, this costs 50. The
Hmm.
actual the actual material cost of the system compared to our old system is more expensive.
Hmm.
The actual cost to our customer in the old system was more expensive than the cost to the customer now, because
Hmm.
ultimately that's who pays for it.
Hmm.
So the increased product is worth every penny of the actual cost of it. So
Hmm.
for us, it's saved money. Hard to track, yes, but
Hmm.
just in the efficiencies, the waste of material or lack thereof now, you just have a of over inventory or overproducing. Those are still costs that they're hard to find, but they're true cost.
Hmm.
If we have if Paradigm says, "Hey, you're short 17 bags of screws," well, now we know that because
Hmm.
these orders are committed and you have this future PO schedule, blah, blah, blah. Well, in the old system, we would just order 100.
Hmm.
Well, 80 of those may sit on the shelf for another month. That
Hmm.
cost us. So in that month, we spent more money than we should have. So
Hmm.
that's a hard cost that you will ultimately spend. But time is money, money is money, money earns you money. And
Hmm.
so being able to track these things in such a way keeps your inventory lower, saving you money. And then it's kind of a more on demand or just in time mentality, if you will.
Hmm.
We have to keep some things based on market conditions. We keep more of some things than we really want to.
Hmm.
But for the things that don't matter in that, they're ordered when they're needed, not over ordered. Um, and that cost is incalculable.
Yeah, no, that's a great summary.
We also, people are a cost, if you will. So
Hmm.
overhead. So
Yep.
if the system is efficient as Paradigm is, we don't have people just running around all day trying to find things or look for things or figure out what's next. It's always in
Hmm.
front of them. So their their motion of running around is gone.
Hmm.
Well, that saves them physical cost, and it also saves the cost of them not being able to produce things when they're needed, which ends up costing
Absolutely.
your customer.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's a great summary. I appreciate that. I don't know if there's anything additional you want to say, just in terms of the experience working with Paragon's team, in terms of support. You mentioned the onboarding piece of it, the implementation already. Anything else there, pros or cons? Be fully honest. This is also an opportunity for you to provide feedback. I'm sure you do on a regular basis, but how's the interaction experience been with their team?
So the day that we went live, it was a little scary. It was definitely scary for me because I hadn't been here for that long, and I was only the receptionist, and I was barely learning QuickBooks. So when I learned that we were switching over, I was like, "Oh no, like this is going to be horrible for me." And I truly think like the knowledge that I've gained, the experience that I have, a lot of it has to do with Paragon. Um, Being able to learn the ins and outs of it has actually only benefited me to learn our material better, um, to learn AR and AP better. So the day that we went live, I was pretty nervous. I had no idea what to do, and I'm sitting at the front desk and I'm trying to invoice, and I'm having trouble. And the phone rings, and I pick it up, and it's Derek. He's like, "Hey, are you having trouble?" I'm like, "What? Like, how do you know that?" And he's like, "Well, when you guys go live, we monitor you guys to kind of see what where you guys could use some help." He was like, "This is how you do it." And I was
Mhm.
like, "Oh wow." And ever since then, they have been nothing but helpful. I was telling David earlier, I'm the most called person to them. Like,
Mhm.
um, I feel bad, honestly, because I call them so much. And sometimes it's not even just with, oh, I need help. It's with these crazy ideas that I have. Like, can we make this happen? And somehow
Mhm.
I always make it happen.
Mhm.
They've given us a lot of support. They made the transition super easy.
Yeah, I mean, we're not IT people.
Mhm.
We don't claim to be. We don't want to be.
Mhm.
Um, so it's we need expert level help to run a multi-million-dollar business, and
Mhm.
your ERP system, that's your foundation. And so if you're we like to do business, we're regular people, and we like to do business with regular people. We like to do business with people, period. We don't want to talk to machines. We don't want to talk to someone that's way far away. We need to be able to get a hold of somebody immediately at certain times and address issues. And Paradigms had to work with our internal IT people, non ERP related, that take care of our computers and things like that. And there's been some struggles there because um, the our system, our this is a non-Paragon issue. Our system, some of our server issues and whatnot, um, they ended up working with our IT people who we contract with, by the way, they're not in-house. And
Mhm.
it took a little bit, but now our updates are way easier. So just being able to pick up the phone and talk to somebody is a big deal for us.
Mhm.
And so we don't, um, sometimes we get talked to like we're IT people and we're not. We kind of get that. They're not metal building people. And so if I were to call you and start talking about eave struts and what's these things like that, yeah, you'd look at me like you're looking at me right now. Well, sometimes we feel like we're a deer in the headlights at times. And so, um, if the fact stuff that Victoria looks at, the FAQs that are on the website don't answer it, it's very easy most of the time to get a hold of somebody and resolve any sort of questions you have or issues. So that part's a win for the company, Paragon company. As long as it stays that way, it'll stay very successful.
Thanks for that feedback. That's great.
I know you asked even some cons. Um,
Mhm.
I feel like the fulfillment part could have a little bit more of a hands-on approach, just because there's so many things that you can do on there, and I don't feel like we fully utilize them because we're not too familiar with it.
Mhm.
Um, so I feel like there definitely could be some improvement there. Um, and just maybe a clear audit trail. So an audit trail in Paradigm just pretty much tells you everything that has gone on with an order. If someone's changed a product or added a product or changed a price, and it's pretty confusing. So in the future, I feel like that's something that I would like to see is a better, more understanding audit trail for non IT people.
Got it. Anything else from you, David, in terms of improvements that could be made?
Electronic signature box on our invoices.
So we can do them right now, like on payments, but pretty much what the process is. is a customer comes in and they want to pick up their order, and we print out the order for them and we have them sign the order, just to kind of keep record of who picked it up. That way, when it gets invoiced, it's never in question. Because a lot of times these contractors send their guys to come in and pick up. And so we take this hard copy of a signed order and we scan it into the order so we have it. And now we're just creating waste, time, money for paper, ink. And so it'd be so much easier to have that little box at the bottom where they could just sign it and it automatically saves.
Mhm.
One last thing it's kind of reared its head up here. I think it was kind of a sporadic thing at one time. Now we've started we received a new piece of equipment, and now we are selling instead of just contractors and some end use customers and developers. We're sending and we're selling now to some resellers, people that are distributing our product. They have a small facility or whatever, they don't make anything, and they're just brokering our material.
Mhm.
So one of the things that one of them brought up to us, it's now been brought up a few times here fairly recently, which is the reason I'm talking about it now, is the um, visibility and understanding of special shape trim. Like, it's kind of, I know what it says because I do it every day.
Mhm.
It's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of messy a little. It's kind of confusing to completely understand all the dimensions. It's kind of fuzzy looking.
Mm.
So if there's a way of cleaning up or drawing it like with a big chief crayon um, on the order, because ultimately our guys on the folder, they, even if they're looking at it on a machine, it's still, we get questions on that and understanding what side is painted, or what side, the color's on, what side it's not, certain degrees sometimes, or it's just kind of, if there's a way of cleaning that up, that'd be very helpful. And I bet they will. So
Yeah, great feedback. This recording will be going to them as well, so make sure to pass that on.
I don't know if you know this, and it's not even one of the questions, but we have hosted a few people here that were looking to implement Paradigm.
Mhm.
Like Derek has said, "Hey, go see these people at Iron Brothers."
Mhm.
I don't know if any of them have turned into anything. I know one of them has not. I think they'll end up doing it because
Mhm.
he's kind of an aggressive guy and wants to get better, but they haven't done it yet. So
Mhm.
I think, to add on to David, so a few times, when we've had other companies come in to see, they've asked me to speak and show them a few things, and I
Mhm.
can't control my excitement. Like, I get so excited, I'll start stuttering because, I mean, oh, I'm stuttering now. So many cool things that it does. Like, I get so excited, and there's times, like, where I'll learn how to do something, and I'll bust into David and Eric's office, and I'm like, "You're never gonna guess what, like, this is what we can do now." They're always improving, they're always coming out with things, and, I mean, it's something to get excited about. I mean,
Yeah. If you can get excited about your business software, that's usually a good sign.
well, I don't know how many people. I know of one other company that is like us that uses Paradigm. I almost wish that none of them knew about it. Selfishly,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
keep doing it. Keep running around like the Flintstones while we're the jet.
Mhm. Yeah. It's a huge competitive advantage once you learn how to unlock that type of, seamless integration efficiency just company wide. It's yeah,
For
you
sure.
never want to go backward.
No.
So speaking of going forward, what's next for Iron Brother Metals? How does Paragon fit into that picture? What's your roadmap looking ahead?
More equipment. So Paradigm's involved with that. Uh, More people, more inventory, um, more revenue, hopefully. Um, so we'll just keep expanding on what we have now. We're not in a massive hurry to do any of these things. We kind of, we don't want to get super far in debt to expand the company. And so, we've done a pretty good job of managing all that. So we have another machine on order that we won't have until best case November of next year. So adding some more panel lines, and then the e-commerce will be a big one. I mentioned the resellers a little while ago. That's why the thought of the e-commerce, I forget what it's called on Paradigm, but e-commerce is kind of a generic term. So being able to roll that out here fairly soon is something we're looking forward to. But whatever we do, it's almost like we keep unplugging new things all the time. And that's not Paradigm's fault. That's really our fault. We get to a point where like, I wonder if, oh, well, yeah, it's right there. And so their adaptability to our change has been very important to us. And we're, you know, we feel like we found the diamond in the rough, so to speak. Not that Paradigm was rough, but you don't know what you don't know. And we're grateful for, very, very grateful that we found, I mean, we were a collection of two companies that merged together, and then we dissolved our old companies and made a new one. And that was 4.5 years ago. So Paradigm for almost 3 years has been our motherboard, has been our guiding light, if you will. It will stay that way. We're not going to go backwards. We're not going to, whatever we do, it will be, the relationship will be ongoing. And I know you didn't ask this really. We asked about the cost earlier. The onboarding cost I thought were very fair. I don't, the other company I mentioned earlier, those were onerous. I mean, that was like, wow, almost. And maybe it's because of the size of company we are. If you went to a way bigger manufacturer, the cost for another company is probably a drop in the bucket. But for us, it was like, man, that's not even the same ballpark, on what we can spend for that kind of deal. But then the quarterly rate, or whatever fees we have been charged, and then our quarterly fees or whatnot, to me, those are not onerous. Those are, I think they're very much worth it.
I think if they were to bill us every time I called them, I don't know how good this would be. No.
You're getting your money's worth. That's right. Yeah, you take full advantage of it. No,
Yeah.
that's great. And I know they're eager to help and make sure everyone has a great experience onboarding and using
Yeah, your
product.
system
So,
bankrupts you.
Mhm.
They have to be reasonable. And
Mhm.
there's some, we deal with other aspects and other softwares that we have to have for various quoting means or whatnot. And some of those are, they're not user friendly, if you will. But you're kind of forced to use certain ones because that's what's available. But
Yeah. Awesome. This is not on the list, but I'll just throw this out there. I'm in Texas looking for metal supplies. Give me your pitch.
we care about the customer. We want to make metal building dreams come true. So from the minute they walk in the door to the time it's delivered, we want to be accurate. We want to be quicker, and our costs will be, if not in line, below market rate. And it's because we have invested the time and the resources on the front end to build a system that is very efficient. Paradigm's a huge part of that. And then our other systems that we have to be more efficient than other companies. So we deliver way quicker, and we have a whole lot of knowledge here that we can pretty much build any metal building. So
Awesome.
big, small, it doesn't matter.
I'm going to quote our very knowledgeable other owner, Eric. Okay. I'm just going to lay it down. We cut metal, not corners.
Awesome slogan.
That's it.
I like it. That's great.